No one in the NFL has had a better offseason than the Philadelphia Eagles. That is something that you have heard time and time again this offseason, and I'm all here for it. I love it. The Philadelphia Eagles were able to add big additions to key positions that we were looking for, honestly, for years, but they finally did it. So I'm going to go over which position group I think in this offseason got the strongest. So let's get into it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today, like I said, I want to talk about the improvements that we've made. The Eagles have made some improvements. I love to say that. I'm going to keep saying it until it's not true. But this offseason has been very good to Eagles fans in the front office alike. So we're going to talk about the main groups, and we're going to talk about who I think was the biggest addition to this team in this offseason. Now, before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. If you are waiting for these videos, I haven't done videos in a while. I've been doing mainly live streams, so usually around 12:30 you can catch me. Sometimes you'll catch me late night, but for those that are like, where's all these videos? I go live a lot, so if you guys are not, attuned to the lives, definitely check out for those. Definitely be ready for those. So hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I do go live, so you're not, waiting for these videos. But this I wanted to do a video for. I didn't want to have no outside influence, so I want to talk about these position groups, and the way I'm going to break it down is I'm going to talk about the top 3 position groups that I feel we improved the most. The third one, I guess I'm already giving it away. The third one for me, though, is going to be the secondary. I think the adding of James Bradberry, obviously you're able to keep, you're able to keep Darius Slay out there. You're able to keep Avonte Maddox, more importantly, in the slot, where I think that he strives. He's the best at his position when he's in the slot position. So I love to see that he's able to do that. Obviously still young, still got a lot of growth in him. So I'm excited to see what this secondary will be. I didn't put them at number 2. I didn't put them at number 1 because honestly, the safety room still kind of scares me. Realistically, they can even be an honorable mention, but I really like the addition of James Bradberry. I think that makes our secondary very, very good. And not only that, it takes a lot of pressure off of the safeties that we don't know too much about, right? We're seeing what they're going to become. Now, second, I was in between 3 different groups here because I want to say wide receiver group, even though we only added 1 player, but A.J. Brown is a very significant at adding, right? And then you look at the linebacking group, I think that they're very good. You look at the defensive line, I think that they gotten a lot better. I'm going to go with number 2, and this might be a point of contention for a lot of people. I'm going to go with wide receiving core because honestly, I thought that we had a decent wide receiving core last year. This year, we have an above average wide receiving core, which is a big jump, don't get me wrong, but we are not a pass first team. Now, that may change. That may change this season now that you have a weapon like A.J. Brown. Maybe you want to throw the ball a little bit more, but he's not a guy that's going to go over the top consistently. He's not a guy that's going to give you, I don't know how to say this without it sounding like I'm hating, because I'm really not hating. Jalen Hurts is not going to be all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes, right? He's just not going to be. We saw what he was able to do with Ryan Tannehill. That's a good parameter for what A.J. Brown is going to be able to do with the Philadelphia Eagles. You can make your argument about who you think is a better thrower, whether it be Ryan Tannehill or Jalen Hurts. I'm not here for that debate right now, but my point being, you look at the type of offense, you look at our type of offense, and the floor should be 900 to 1,000 yards at least. And honestly, I'm looking even higher because he's in his, I believe, 3rd or 4th year. I believe it's his 4th year now. So A.J. Brown has time in the game. He's gotten his feet wet. Now it's time to really ball out and show that you're a superstar. So I love what they did at the wide receiving core, but the next group is something that I love even more. So we'll get into that. Now, this one, I know you guys are going to, I'll say an honorable mention first, and that'll give away what I have for number 1, right? My honorable mention is going to be linebackers. Okay, my honorable mention is the addition of Nakobe Dean, the addition of Kaiser White, the addition of Kyron Johnson, depending on how you expect them to really utilize him. Another year with Davion Taylor in this group. You have another year with TJ Edwards in this group. You have another year with this linebacking core, right? So you look at that and you have high hopes. But realistically, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm expecting them to go through the roof, expecting this linebacking core to go from one of the worst to one of the better. If we're top 15, I'll be very, very ecstatic about that. If we're a top 15 linebacking unit, however they measure that, I will be okay with that. I don't want to ask too much about this linebacking core. So any improvement for me is an improvement, and I'm cool with it. So I am going to put them at the honorable mention, which leaves the big behemoth, the big man, the big dog in the middle of the, we got two of them now, right? We got Fletcher Cox, we got Jordan Davis, right? And then you have a whole bunch of guys on the outside with the addition of Hassan Riddick, obviously Brandon Graham coming back, Josh Sweat in another year in his contract year. Maybe a little bit of pressure is off now that you went through that first year with your contract and you don't have to really prove anything. Had a decent year, 7.5 sacks, right? So maybe it's time that we get back to that dominant defensive line. It hasn't been a long, wait, right? It hasn't been a long layoff from the last time we've been top 3 in sacks. It was only 2 years ago. So I believe that the additions that we made not only help us get there now, but we have a lot of future pieces on this team. We have a lot of future pieces. So while it may not be the sexiest pick, like obviously it was a beautiful pick. We loved the pick, but it was a pick that a lot of people were like, he's probably not going to play that many snaps this year because he's behind Javon Hargrave and behind Fletcher Cox. But this may be long-term the best additions that we made to this team, right? You look at A.J. Brown, obviously that's going to be a long-term thing, but it was a one solo pickup, right? And I feel like you look at this defensive line, Hassan Riddick has real potential to be with this team 3 to 5 years, has real potential to possibly retire as a Philadelphia Eagles. All the connections, we're willing to pay people if they're productive, especially at that defensive line position. And then you just look at the injury-ridden defensive line that we had last year, now has a year to kind of get back on their toes, get back on their feet, get back to the dominance that we as Philadelphia Eagles fans are honestly used to. Maybe we're some people tell me that I'm spoiled because I'm so used to the Eagles being so great. Maybe I am. I don't care. I'm going to live my life being spoiled, and I'm going to enjoy that because spoiled is better than being, what's the opposite of spoiled? Just being I guess it's being a Sixers fan this year because that was just terrible for you guys. But either way, I don't know why I took that shot. But you guys let me know what you're thinking. Who do you think was the biggest addition to the Philadelphia Eagles this year? I'm going to go ahead and say Jordan Davis, man, and maybe that's not a hill I'm willing to die on. Maybe it's not. But right now it is. So we'll see what happens. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Obviously, hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out here. Peace!
Everywhere. This is for you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.